73% of Indians are protein deficient and 93% are unaware of their daily protein requirement. We're talking about a silent health crisis affecting 3 out of 4 people in the country.
What should Indians eat? Your diet has a major impact on your health.
Proteins are not only lacking in the Indian diet, but often overlooked.
People in India don't meet those requirements despite being non-vegetarian.
7 out of 10 adults have poor protein intake.
Eating less protein compared to the body's requirement can lead to impaired growth and affect the repair functions in the body.
हमारा जो हिंदुस्तान का जो हेल्थ कार्ड है वो बहुत खराब.
Now, a legendary brand Amul has stepped in with a completely unique approach to fix it. But how exactly are they doing it? What makes this strategy so unique? And why could they potentially be the ones to finally solve the crisis? Hi, I'm Hiral and welcome to Level Up with Hiral. First, let's understand the scale of what we're dealing with. India is facing a nutritional crisis that nobody talks about. According to the IMRB and Kantar surveys, 73% of Indians are protein deficient. That's not just vegetarians. Even 65% of non-vegetarians fall short of their daily protein needs. And it doesn't just stop at feeling tired. Kids stop growing properly, muscles start shrinking, the immune system takes a hit, and even the brain slows down. An average Indian adult needs 0.8 to 1.6 grams of protein per kg of their body weight daily. For a 60 kg adult, that's roughly 50 to 90 grams of protein per day. To hit 50 grams of protein naturally, you'd need to eat 600 grams of cooked dal or drink 1.7 liters of milk or eat 8 to 10 eggs. For most Indians, that's neither practical nor affordable. So why hasn't this been solved yet? We already have a protein supplement industry, right? Well, that's where the real problem begins. The broken protein market. The protein supplement industry in India has a fundamental manufacturing problem that starts with basic economics. Here's why. Most protein powders depend on whey, essentially a waste product from cheese production. Every liter of milk contains 2 key proteins, casein, which makes up 80%, and whey, just 20%. When cheesemakers heat milk to eliminate bacteria, the temperature change causes a natural separation. The milk splits into solid curds and liquid whey. The curds become cheese. The leftover liquid is whey, mostly water mixed with small amounts of protein, fat, carbohydrates, and lactose. Through an intensive filtering and drying process, this watery byproduct gets transformed into protein powder. You need approximately 200 liters of milk to produce just 1 kg of whey protein powder. Now, if you wanted to manufacture only whey protein, not cheese, the economics are staggering. At 60 rupees per liter, your raw material cost alone hits 12,000 rupees per kg before any processing equipment or labor costs. Meanwhile, retail protein powders sell for just 2,000 to 4,000 rupees per kg. This massive gap explains why direct whey manufacturing is financially impossible. So, what do they do instead? They buy whey from dairy companies or import it from abroad, add flavoring, package it, and then sell it. This creates a quality control nightmare for 2 key reasons. First, when importing from foreign suppliers, brands lose direct control over manufacturing standards and source quality. Second, to maintain profit margins, many companies prioritize cheaper whey over premium quality, compromising what eventually reaches the consumer. And this isn't just a theory. We've got proof. A recent study tested 36 protein powders sold in India. 70% were mislabeled and 14% were found to contain harmful toxins. You might even spot your favorite brand on that list. The report even said most Indian-made herbal protein-based supplements are poor quality and contain liver-toxic botanicals. A tweet pointed out that many members of the editorial boards, including the editor-in-chief, were linked to supplement brands as advisors, consultants, or promoters. Now, I'm not making any allegations based off a tweet, but it is something worth noting for sure. So yeah, protein quality in India, big red flag. Apart from quality, there's a deeper issue too. How we see protein powder in our culture. In India, protein is still treated like a gym thing or some fancy Western health food. Our moms literally ask, why are you drinking powder? Eat proper food instead. Now we all know our daily food isn't enough to meet our protein needs. No matter how many dal sabzis we eat, we're still falling short. So now the real question is, what makes Amul different? What gives them a better shot at cracking this compared to all the other protein brands out there? Amul already owns the entire supply chain. And that changes everything. They collect milk from 3.6 million farmer families every single day. They run some of India's largest cheese making plants. And when you make cheese and paneer, you naturally get whey as a byproduct.
तो हमको पाउडर बनाने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ती. उसी वे से हमने प्रोटीन किया. सो वो 0.6-0.9% प्रोटीन को 7.5-8% प्रोटीन, जो हमारी अमूल की छाछ आप देखते हो, हाई प्रोटीन छाछ 25 रुपये में 200 ml पैक में 15 ग्राम प्रोटीन देते हैं, विच इज 7.5-8% प्रोटीन. तो वो 0.8 को आपने 10x किया.
Here's Amul's unfair advantage. They source whey directly from their own cheese and paneer production lines, while competitors pay premium prices for imports. Let's break down what imported whey protein or WPC 80% actually costs Indian brands. Base import price. Recent data shows WPC 80% costs $9.90 per kg for bulk shipments. At current exchange rates of 83 rupees per USD, that's 821 rupees per kg. But this is just the beginning. Government taxes hit hard. Basic customs duty adds 20%. That's another 164 rupees. IGST or GST slaps on 18% of the new total, adding 177 more. Your 821 has now gone up to 1,162 rupees per kg. Hidden logistic costs, port handling, freight, documentation and insurance add up another 100-200 rupees per kg. The bottom line final landed cost for high volume importers, 1,200 to 1,400 rupees per kg. And remember, this is before any processing, flavoring, packaging, marketing or profit margins for the brand. This vertical integration from milk collection to cheese and paneer production to whey extraction gives them massive advantages over traditional protein brands. This end-to-end control gives them 3 massive advantages. First, cost control. There are no import duties or shipping costs. They make it domestically at a fraction of what others spend. Second, quality assurance. They manage everything from the cow to the concentrate, so there's no guessing about source quality or purity. Third, trust. And this is a big one. In a market plagued by mislabeling and contamination, only a legacy brand with 80 plus years of trust can fix the problem. Amul is the household name we all grew up with. In a trust-deficient market, legacy is everything. This solves the cost and quality of whey protein. But the real challenge is, how do you break the cultural bias towards protein powder, the masterstroke invisible protein? Instead of only competing in the protein powder, Amul is doing something completely different. They are integrating protein into foods you already consume, but just a more protein-rich version, like high-protein chaach, high-protein dahi, high-protein paneer, and high-protein milkshakes. For example, you're already drinking regular chaach in your everyday meals. But now, instead of Amul Masti, which has just 3 grams of protein for 15 rupees, you can grab Amul Protein Chaach, 15 grams of protein for just 25 rupees. Same habit, more value. Why is this brilliant? Because it solves the fundamental behavioral problem. You don't need to change your routine. You don't need to explain to your family why you're drinking powder. This is invisible protein consumption. It feels natural because it is natural. These protein products cost slightly more than the regular products, chaach or paneer. But here's the most interesting part about the rollout strategy. Despite having one of India's largest distribution networks, Amul is deliberately not using it for protein products. Initially, they're selling primarily through their D2C website and quick commerce platforms like Blinkit and Zepto.
डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की बात करें तो अभी ऑनलाइन ही इसीलिए बेच रहे हैं हम लोग कि ये कस्टमर ज़्यादातर ये प्रोडक्ट ऑनलाइन खरीदता है. एंड D2C अप्रोच हेल्प्स बिकॉज you start knowing who your customer is.
And they're targeting urban, health-aware consumers who already read nutrition labels and understand protein importance. Why this focused approach? Because the taste and texture of high-protein chaach differs slightly from the regular chaach. If unaware consumers accidentally try it without understanding the benefits, they might reject it. Amul knows that 93% of Indians are currently unaware of their ideal protein requirement. This is a smart product seeding. Let the aware segment discover, appreciate, and advocate for the products before mass rollout. But what does this mean for the bigger picture? India's protein supplement market is projected to reach $2.08 billion by 2030, growing at about 6 to 9% annually. COVID accelerated health awareness, and social media is driving protein consciousness among the younger Indians. But Amul will face real challenges scaling this approach. First, retail clarity. How do you clearly communicate the difference between regular and protein chaach at store level? Second, price sensitivity. Will tier 2 and 3 city consumers pay a premium for added protein? Third, mass education. Eventually, to unlock the remaining 93% of unaware consumers, Amul will need significant investment in culturally relevant communication and marketing. While everyone else treated protein as a supplement category, Amul recognized it as a food integration opportunity. While others focused on gym positioning, Amul made it family friendly. The genius lies in understanding that India's protein crisis isn't about introducing new products. It is about solving trust, awareness, and behavioral barriers simultaneously. If this works, they might solve India's protein deficiency crisis. And that's how you turn a nutritional crisis into a strategic opportunity. What do you think? Is Amul's invisible protein strategy the future of Indian nutrition? Or will cultural barriers prove too strong? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We put in a lot of thoughts in our case studies. So if we were able to bring value for you, please tell us in the comments below. We would really appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week. Ciao for now.